What is up, everyone? How's everyone doing? Hope y'all are doing great. Joining us in this, what is this, late night, would you say?
Very late night.
Very late night recording. Um, yeah, welcome guys to a new episode. Sorry, I'm just gonna do, there we go. Welcome guys to a new episode of Wednesday Project Podcast, brought to you by your host, Brandon Lara, and co-host,
Jackie.
And today, it's a very different type of episode, right? Today, we have a very, 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 very special guest joining us in the building. My wife, my best friend. Present yourself.
Jackie.
Mrs. Jackie. Woo!
Hello, guys.
What up, babes?
What up?
How's everything?
Good.
Good. You look cute.
Thank you. How are you?
Looking good. Do you look good? I meant to
Yeah.
say.
You're looking good.
Thank you. I'm looking good.
Yes, sir.
I decided that I think we should do a podcast together, like what's it called? Like you being the guest, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Excited to be here.
yes. Now, how's the day been? I want you to actually tell them today, like kind of what happened, you know, and kind of your experience with everything, and then like, you know, the importance of today.
Well, today we woke up around 8 and he had to go train. And I was going to go with him, but I was like, no, I'll just stay home. And then he got home and he got a haircut, and I was just getting ready for the day because today is our 1 year
Anniversary of being married.
Yes, so I got ready, then he got ready, and we went out for breakfast. Perkins. It was delicious, guys.
Fire. So freaking good.
And then after that, we went to Hobby Lobby, right? No, we went to the bank and then Hobby Lobby.
Yes. No. After that, we went to the bank, and then after the bank, we went to, I think, Walmart.
Yeah, something like that. We went to a couple stores today.
Yeah, so we basically spent our anniversary just shopping.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, we went to Cosmo Pro.
That's where we went, Cosmo Pro.
Where I wasted a lot of money.
But she's packed. She's
packed,
got the hookups
guys,
now, you know.
for my waxing.
She's got it settled.
Yeah.
So then after that is when we went to Hobby Lobby.
Yeah. And we picked a few things for you in the studio.
Yeah, we picked up a couple cool little things for the studio, so that we can get kind of the final, not the final, but like the finished product of what we're building here. Mm-hmm. So that's very exciting. And I'm thinking,
we got some really cool LED lights, guys.
oh my gosh.
Now, those are fucking nice.
Super nice. I think they're better than the ones we got for right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're a lot more expensive, so.
It's fucked up, though. They don't even include the power adapter, so.
Yeah.
Have to return them and pick up the same LED lights, but just different length.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But, yeah.
We'll make it work.
And then what happened?
We kind of bought something else.
That was unexpected. Very unexpected.
Something that we've been wanting, or I've been wanting a lot.
She's been wanting a lot.
You too.
I'm not going to lie. No, you can tell them because it's your present. So,
it's both.
So check this out. I'm going to kind of give the backstory. So we're going home already from Walmart after like Hobby Lobby and all that stuff. And she's like, well, I wanted to go to Kohl's. And I was like, okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we go to Kohl's, and I'm walking around there, and I pick up these badass sunglasses. They looked sick. And, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, just something in my head said, ask her if she wants to go buy this thing. And I I told her, and she's like, for real? I'm like, yeah. And then I was like, how about this? We'll get there. If the vibe is there to buy it, we'll get it. If the vibe isn't there, like we just both get that sense of like, don't do this, we won't. And if one of us is on the yes and the other is on the no, which would be me probably being on the no,
Boring.
we'll do a coin flip. And depending on what you call in the coin flip, we'll choose, right?
Yeah.
So then go.
Well, we're walking around and he's like, okay, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't know. But my I don't knows are usually a yeah, you know? And so I look at him. He's like, I don't know, babe, up to you. And I was like, dude. And then he's like, you want to flip a coin? And he took a coin with him just
to do the flip.
Just in case.
Because I knew it was gonna be like that. I knew that I was gonna be like, nah, like we don't need it.
I mean, it was a pretty good deal, though, I feel like.
I think we got a pretty good deal for what we got. Mm-hmm. So then she's like, okay, let's do the coin flip. I'm like, okay, so let's do the coin flip.
I guess. And right when he says we're going to do the coin flip, I just freaking cross my fingers and I put them behind my back. And he flips it and he's like, okay, what do you want, heads or tails? And I was like, heads.
So I flipped the coin right, and then it lands, and it
Heads.
lands under like a this like shelf thing, and I look at it, and I'm not looking at it. Well, I grab it, and I'm like,
kind of sliding it.
I'm like, what do you call before it comes out of the shelf? What do you call, heads or tails? And she was like, heads. And so I slide it under the shelf, and it landed on heads. So then...
And he's like, okay, you got some good luck. And I'm like, I was crossing my fingers the whole time, dude.
So we were just like waiting there, and I was like, let's do it again.
I was like, dude, come on, it's still a yes.
So we flip it again, and then it lands on tails.
And then he's like, okay, let's flip it again. And then we flip it again, and then it's heads again.
And so she wins. So we picked up a...
Nintendo Switch.
She's been wanting a Nintendo Switch for a very long time. A long-ass time.
Yeah. I just think it would be really fun for us whenever we don't have anything to do.
Agree.
If we can't find like anything on Netflix.
Yeah,
or if like your family comes over, or my family comes over, or friends.
Yeah. It's like a nice little thing to have for sure.
Imagine we're playing it like drunk.
Oh shit, that'd be sick.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, pick it up. Which one do you want? And like there was like 3 different kinds, and she ended up going with this like Mario one, and it's pretty sick. It's pretty cool, honestly.
It comes with stickers, guys.
And I think the red on red looks better than the blue and red.
It looks pretty cool.
I like the red on red a lot.
Even though I don't like red, it looks pretty nice.
And and so we picked it up, and we picked up a game too. So so the deal was like the Nintendo Switch plus you get to choose 1 out of 3 games that it came with. So there's like a code that came with. And so we picked up with that code, we got, what is it, Mario Kart? Mm-hmm. We got Mario Kart, and then after that we got Super Mario World or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, it's pretty sick. And then that's when I went over and picked up my LED lights for the studio. It's going to look sick. I can't wait.
Oh, and then we go back because he's trying to find his power supply thing. Mm-hmm. And we end up getting those little, what are they called?
They're like steering wheels for the Nintendo Switch. And I
was like, we came to buy something and got something else.
It was a super cheap deal. I mean,
yeah, $10.
$10 for 2 little like steering wheels to play.
Yeah.
And those are like super cool for the Mario Kart especially. Because the controller, like, I don't know if you guys ever played like the Wii U back in the day, or the Wii. But if you played Mario Kart on the Wii, like you had this long ass brick basically, and you went like this. But if you had like the steering wheel, which I had the black one.
Okay, Mr. Bougie.
And it was like freaking like actually driving. It was pretty sick. So I'm excited for that. It's gonna be cool.
I'm excited. We might play tonight or tomorrow.
For sure tonight, a little bit though.
Yeah.
For sure, like it's a must.
It's a Saturday. So.
Yeah, we gotta enjoy it. We should play in the room.
In the room?
Yeah, because we have that little thing there, so we can connect it.
True.
We can set it on top.
In bed and.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That'll be real fun. So yeah. So, anyways, so you're the guest. Okay, so well to finish that off, what'd you think of today? Did you have a good rate it on scale 1 to 10? Your first anniversary of being married. What do you rate
I
it?
rate it a 10 out of 10.
You hear that, boys?
I just think it was really fun, and I'm glad that we just got to spend it together without like
Yeah,
nobody else,
yeah.
and that we didn't really even plan. What?
I just heard your
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'm glad that we didn't really even plan anything. It just kind of happened. We were like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah, and then it was really cool because we both like got quote unquote some spending money, and we bought like little things that we both wanted individually. So that was really cool. And then like to top it off, to get this Nintendo Switch, it was like just a cherry on top for me. But to me, what was the best was like I had nothing planned today besides just spend the whole day with you, and you know, I didn't get no calls that were like, oh, this and that, like, or messages or anything. Like, it was just very much like my attention was very much on like us and you and having just a good day overall.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
It was really fun.
I think it honestly, like, for the first, celebrating our first year like this, I think is really cool.
Yeah, and I'm glad we didn't go all out and
Yeah.
like spent like a ton of money.
Yeah. And then, because if we would have gone to like Utah or Boise or something like that,
Because we were planning on that.
yeah, that might have been fun too. But the thing is, like,
Driving back.
driving and the tire, having to work Monday and things like that. There's nothing like taking a good little trip that's, 3-4 days and then coming back.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But how do you feel being a guest?
Good.
Do you like being in front of the camera? Are you getting used to it?
That's kind of weird. I mean, I don't really like try to look at it.
I noticed that, yeah.
Yeah, but
You
it's
gotta
not.
make
It's
eye
not
contact.
as.
You gotta make eye contact with them.
I feel like
just
my
look
eyes
at
go
them.
crossed.
Really? So I want to talk
Yeah.
to you about kind of like, I want you to share us your story of like kind of growing up in your household, because I think your household is very, I don't know if this is right to say or not, but I think it's like very old school Mexican in a sense, old school Hispanic. And I think that there's a lot of kids out here that are listening to us that can benefit from listening to you talk about how you kind of went through some of those adversities being in a, like I said, old school household in a sense. And that's kind of where I want to start. So how does that sound?
Sounds good.
By the way, we did not plan anything for this, guys, just so you guys know. So all of this is coming straight from the dome. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what the dome means? Your brain.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I don't think I have much of that left.
it's late. It's very late.
Yeah.
I'm about to be like, let's
I'm a
cut
bit
it.
tired.
I'm about to be like, let's cut it. Let's do this tomorrow. What do you think?
No, because I'm not about to get ready tomorrow.
What are we doing tomorrow?
No, I don't know yet.
I want to stay home. That's just what I want to do. Just stay home.
Okay.
Okay, so guide me through this, through your life. So, how was it? When did you notice that your parents were a little bit more strict than usual, or did you never kind of see them like that? Did you never kind of see it as like a strict household, or when did you realize that you're like, oh, my parents are a little bit more strict than my friend's parents, for example? How old were you?
I think I noticed around my senior year, because I wasn't much of going out, Like, yeah, I'd ask for permission, and I didn't really ask for permission a lot. I wasn't going out like every weekend.
Yeah.
So I was fine with it, but then senior year comes and I'm trying to hang out with friends and do this or do that. And that's when I start noticing it, because I wanted to go out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say they invited me to a party or something. At that age, it's like, oh, your party starts like at freaking 8, 9.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And I never wanted to stay late, like 1 in the morning or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But even like 10, like 9, 10 was already super late for them and they wanted me home.
Interesting. Where do you think that comes from?
Mm, I'm not too sure. I feel like they were just trying to protect me since I'm a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Because with my brother, they didn't really have a problem. But you do. Just kidding. Yeah, they didn't really have a problem with my brother so much like they did with me.
Yeah.
And they'd always be like, yeah, but you're a girl and this or this can happen to you, you know?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it would kind of piss me off because I was like, well, yeah, but I can take care of myself, you know?
what would be some of those fears that they would have, or that they would kind of bring out when you would have these type of conversations with them?
Like me getting pregnant or
I think that's the
yeah, I
biggest
think
one.
that's the biggest one. That was the
Like,
biggest one for them all the time.
and I think it's not just for your parents, and I just want to make something clear too. We're not throwing anyone's parents under the bus here, not at all. Jackie's just explaining her how she was brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean her parents are bad people, because
Oh,
they're
no.
honestly great people, and doesn't mean that we like hate them or that we're throwing them under the bus. That's not the case here. We're just having a conversation about how
Oh,
she
yeah.
grew up and some of the struggles that any girl can go through, especially in a Hispanic,
Mm-hmm.
home. So
And in a way, I'm actually very thankful that they were like that, even though it might have not been the right thing for them to do or be so strict.
more so how they, I think more so how they executed.
Because I wasn't able to do a lot of things that teenagers would be doing.
So what do you think it is that like Hispanic parents have? Like, where do you think it comes from, that fear of like, if you're a girl, like, oh, just because you go out, you're gonna get pregnant, or just because you hang out with a guy or whatever, you're gonna get pregnant, especially late at night. Like, what do you think that is? Where do you think that comes from? What?
I don't know.
Because I think it's one of those things that's brought down. I think that
Well,
the
my parents grew up in a very strict
household,
household, yeah.
yeah,
Because over there, it was like your mom was telling us that one time.
yeah. My mom has a crazy story about how when she met my
Like-
dad,
Like whenever they would
hang out.
hang out,
My dad had to ask permission to hang out.
yeah,
to
and
begin
he
with.
had to go to their house, and he was sitting here. It was like his mom or whatever.
So the way it worked is like,
her-
imagine your living room, right? And you have one couch on one side, and you have the other couch on the other side, so facing each other.
Mm-hmm.
On one side, my dad would sit with my uncle, not my uncle, my mom's, like guardian
Father or
essentially.
whatever.
It was her uncle, so it was my dad, her uncle, and then on the other side was my mom and my grandma, and that would be the dates that my mom would go on and that my dad would go on. They wouldn't let my mom go out with my dad the way you see it now in society, where hey, let's go out to the movies. Like, it wasn't like that back then for them. So imagine trying to build a relationship, trying to talk to this girl or this guy who you might find something serious, in a setting where you have your guardians, right? Just there, just nitpicking anything that the person might say that to them is wrong.
And now imagine your mom, my
Oh,
mother-in-law.
hell no.
What?
No. I'm imagining it, and I'm like, hell
No. But now imagine that. But my family, my parents are a bit older than your mom.
Yes, yeah,
So if her family was strict, imagine my family.
yeah. And so,
Because my mom told me it was kind of similar to what was happening with your parents.
and that's the weird thing is, like, back then in Mexico, guys, too, like, I heard my mom talk about this, that back then, for like a girl to date a guy back in the day. And these are people that grew up in like ranches or like little small towns. Um, the guy was standing behind a fence and the girl was on the other side of the fence. That because even if they touched a little bit, the girl would get pregnant.
Oh yeah.
And to me, it's like, you think about it, I'm like, where the fuck do you get the idea that just by touching a girl you get her pregnant? More so,
I feel like they were so innocent back then too.
they probably like, yeah,
Like shit, if you touch me right now, you're gonna get me pregnant.
yeah, like chill, you know? Don't,
Like they didn't know about sex till they got married.
yeah, or like they didn't even know what sex was, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, I mean, I'm sure there was a few out there that did, you know, but still, like,
I mean, it wasn't out there like that, like it
yeah.
is now.
So I think that's where, you know, the passing down comes from, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you're you know, you're having these conversations with your parents and their biggest fear is getting you pregnant and you're not going out too much. What did that make you feel like internally in the sense of yourself, of who you were as a person? Did it make you feel like you were being ostracized? You're being like almost you're almost seen as less, or because they didn't trust you, or like how was it for you when the conversation was over and you went to your room? Obviously, there was emotions running, like maybe frustration or anger.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, we all know that, I mean, maybe not all of us, but we know that, you know, anger is like a fake emotion. There's usually more behind anger. So, how was that for you?
I think I had a lot of anger towards them just because I felt like they weren't letting me live my life.
Yeah.
So I felt like I was always angry at them. But then at the same time I would kind of just brush it off. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Or sometimes friends would like invite me to go out and they would like tell me the time or whatever, you know?
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, my parents aren't going to let me like over here. Like I would just be like, okay, I'll ask.
Yeah. What did
But
your
sometimes
friends
I didn't.
think?
But sometimes I didn't want to ask.
Yeah.
And I would just tell my friend, oh, they didn't let me.
Gotcha. You
Because
didn't even want to.
I wouldn't even want to go through it.
Yeah.
And at some point, I didn't really even want to go out.
Right. You just got used to kind of being at home, and
Yeah.
that was kind of the norm.
Yeah.
How was it to your friends? How did they react? Because, you know, I feel like a lot of friends, you know, either they can understand and, you know, kind of like, oh, okay, or they can be like the ones to like drop the friend, and be like, oh well, they don't want to fucking hang out, then I'm dropping that person. How was it for you with friends?
No, my friends never really like, they were just like, oh, okay, like kind of bummed out.
Yeah.
And they would either stay home or go with the other friends
Gotcha.
that we were going to go out with anyways.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care. I was like, oh yeah, you guys enjoy your time, you know?
Mm-hmm. When so you noticed this in high school. When did it ever get to a point where you were like, what the fuck? Like what? Like was there ever a moment where you're just like, I don't like to the point where like I actually don't understand why they could be so strict. Like it just got out of hand, you know? Was there ever a moment like that?
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years after high school when I just really actually wanted to go out with friends or whatever I was doing, you know? And yeah, and it got really bad, but it was also because I was doing things that were like not okay, you know?
Yeah.
Like kind of ruining the trust between my parents and I. So that fucked up a lot, and that's when they were like, okay, we don't trust you.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, the little bit of trust that you did have, like, it could have been broken off, you know?
Yeah, and after that, like, it took me like a whole year to kind of just try to get their trust back, and I wasn't really even going out anymore. And then later, when I started talking to you,
Mm-hmm.
that's when it was started affecting us, because they were still kind of like, oh no, you can't hang out today, you can't hang out this often or at this time, or
Yeah, they would only
know.
let us hang out twice a week for about an hour.
Oh, and twice a week was already like
A
pushing
lot.
it.
It would be one, and then I got to work. I got the offer, accepted by my father-in-law, who I very much like and appreciate, to 2 days a week, and that was kind of how we built our relationship.
No, but then later on we started hanging out a lot more, huh? It
I
was
think it
more
was
like almost every week.
Yeah, and I
I
think it
mean, all
was
week.
after after we had the crazy plan to move out together.
Yeah. Yeah, I came to them with the,
Was that the craziest thing you went to them with?
yeah.
Where like, in the past, yeah, you were doing stuff and whatnot, and some of those things broke off the trust. But is there anything that, I don't want to say compares, but is there any moment that is like that, or is that the moment where like you just kind of, you know, pushed it over? Because I know they were pissed that when you came to them and talked and like tried to move out. So is there another moment that's like that, or is that the one that you're like, that's probably the biggest one?
Mm, I think I'd say that's my biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably my biggest one. And I just think we weren't thinking straight.
So
Like
talk.
we were just wanting to be together a lot more
Yeah.
and spend time together, that we weren't really thinking it through.
Yeah. The whole issue with in our relationship from the beginning was the restriction on spending time together, right? That was like always one of the things that affected us the most. And the reason why it did, not because, her parents are wrong or I'm wrong. It's not necessarily who's right and who's wrong. It's more so that, one, I grew up in a very libertarian household. Like my mom would let me do anything I wanted and anytime I wanted, basically, as long as I always like let her know where I was and who I was with, and if I was coming home or if I wasn't coming home, and just letting her know that I'm okay, And it didn't even have to be a call; it could be a text. So I grew up like that, 13, 12, 14, 15, 16, like basically my whole teenage from sixth grade forward. And where I imagine in your household, it wasn't like that. And I was a lot hanging out with my friends, and we would go take trips, at 15, 14 to fucking Salt Lake and Boise and whatnot. And so I grew up in a household that I was I was able to do anything really that I wanted. And when I met Jackie, to me, it was out of the norm to have those restrictions played on me, right? Who I was like trying to do everything correct. Like I met her dad and her mom, and she presented me as her boyfriend. Once we got to that level, I think, did you present me to them before I dated?
I think so.
I think once, right?
Yeah.
And then after, no, you didn't.
I didn't.
No, 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 no.
Oh, I took you to my house because you wanted to ask them. No, you wanted to let them know that we were dating, right?
Yeah, I went. Yeah, I went to. Yeah, that was when we were dating. When I think we started dating or something like that. Is when because your dad kept asking that, like, was this like, is this kid serious about you, or like, yeah, are you guys, what do you guys,
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna go talk to your dad and your mom and let them know that we're dating and that I'm your boyfriend. But to me, the biggest issue was like after I presented myself as her boyfriend, after I talked to them and like did the right thing, we still had the restrictions played on, right? where it was like, nope, you can't see her this, you can't do this. It was only 1 hour a day, or 1 hour at the time we hung out, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We'd be lucky for an hour and a half.
Yeah, because let's say we wanted to go out to dinner and then to the movies. We couldn't do that.
It was one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was like, well, what the hell? Like, you're 21, I think, at this point, and like you can't go out, like you can't do anything basically, and I can only see you on the times that are put on by someone else. That's like, there's no control there, you know. I have no say. So that's how I felt, and that's where a lot of our like relationship problems start to begin, because I was like, well, like, we're not, like, I like you, but you know, I can't see you, or can't hang out with you. I can't say, hey, let's go out to dinner, and then can I take you on a movie, or can I take you bowling? Like, it has to be one thing only. So it was very hard.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel in those moments?
At first, I didn't really care, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I was working. The days I wasn't going to school, I was working. So you were trying to hang out with me the days I worked, and the days I worked were...
This
I was
girl
tired.
This girl made it super hard on me to freaking hang out. And I got to the point where I just told her, listen, you keep telling me that you have homework to do, and that you have work, and that you can't hang out. And
No,
can't
but
do
I don't
this.
think you understand, though. Like, I was actually exhausted because I was going to school full time. And the days... I had a lot of quizzes and tests that I needed to study for, because I wasn't just in high school anymore.
And to me,
So
it
I
was
needed
like,
to study a lot, and he thinks I wasn't studying or anything.
no,
But
not
sometimes
necessarily.
after school, since it was a full-time school, I would take a nap or something, and sometimes I would just watch Netflix, because I also needed time for myself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, I'm just too tired. And I would work weekends. And weekends at this place that I was working at were the most tiring, the hardest, because I was working 9-hour shifts. So I was like, dude, like, I would just get out of work, shower. And honestly, all I wanted to do was sleep, and then wake up and eat and go back to sleep.
And the thing with me was like, yes, I understand you're going to school. I understand you have these quizzes and whatnot, and you're studying, and I understand you work too. Like, that's something to be applauded for, and like, you know, like, good job. Like, you know, that's great. But then to me, it was like, but if you're trying to build a relationship with me, which in my point of view, I thought she was, because she was showing interest. I think there was, you know, to me, I felt like, hey, well, there's also time to be, you know, to be given to this relationship that we're trying to build, not just over text, but also in person. So I got to the point where just one day I told her, I was like, hey, listen, like, if you don't want to hang out, and you don't want to like actually spend time together in person, like, that's fine. Just let me know. But I don't want to keep wasting your time or my time. And that's kind of I think that's when you decided.
I was like, shit, dude, I guess we'll hang out.
I was like, fuck.
It took us 3 months, no?
3 months to hang out. Can you believe that BS? And then that's where the real struggles to start to come in, because I wanted to hang out more and more and more, but then I couldn't.
And you kept bugging, and that to me was just so annoying at one point. Because, like, yes, I understood that you wanted to hang out, but I was just too tired, and I was used to not hanging out as often. So for me, it was kind of annoying. I was like, this dude just wants to fucking see me. Like,
Okay.
you'd go to my job when I was working.
Yeah, I did everything I could
And
to see her.
sometimes he would even like book appointments at my school to get like a massage or whatever, facial. And I was like, okay, like, shit, is that not enough for you or what?
Well, yeah, but also, like, you gotta understand my point. Like, I was just, you know, like,
And then
how do I see her if she doesn't want to hang out? But she's showing me interest, so is she just playing with me, or is she actually trying to be serious? And then it was like, when you didn't want to hang out, or that moment that you found me annoying, to me, I almost felt like, well, what the fuck? Like, are you just using me? Like, whenever you want? Are you, like, I almost felt like I wasn't seen until you wanted to see me, you know? That's how it felt. So I was just like, well, what the fuck? Like, either we're going somewhere with this or not, and just tell me, and I'll just fucking pack up my bags and leave,
Yeah.
So then, after all that fucking struggle that I had to go through, all those muddy roads, then we finally hang out. And she falls in love with me, so.
Oh, shut up.
And look at her now. She can't stay away from me. She's always with me.
Go away.
Yeah. It's okay.
You're
So back.
too close to me.
So then back to so then that's kind of like the backstory, right? And that's when we start dating and we decide, like, okay, well, you can't do anything. You're like, in prison at home. Why don't you move out with me?
Yeah.
How was that?
I wasn't completely okay with it. But you had kind of pressured me into doing it because you were like, oh, well, it's that or this kind of it,
Again, I was sick of it. Keep in mind.
But I just don't think it was right because I did feel like I was pressured into it, low-key. But then at the same time, I kind of wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because I was just tired of arguing with you and tired of arguing with my parents. Because if it wasn't me arguing with you, it was my parents. And if it wasn't, it was just both all the time.
Yeah.
Because, oh, they didn't let me go out. Oh, now I'm mad because you can't go out, you know? So I was just tired of both sides. So I was just like, let's just try it. I knew it wasn't going to work out. Like, I even told you. I was like, I don't know.
And to me, it was just like, just try it. And if it doesn't, it's not like your parents are going to kick you out. And it's not like they're going to stop loving you. The reason why they do all these things is because they love you. And that's how, quote unquote, they show it, is by trying to protect you. But if you try it and if it works, then you get the upper hand, like you come out winning. And if it doesn't work, you're still going to sleep in the same bed, and you're still going to see them tomorrow, and you're going to be there. I mean, nothing's going to change. Maybe just the fact that they don't trust you.
I just don't think you understood that. Let's say they didn't kick me out, and I was going to see them tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it was going to be weird and awkward.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just going to be normal right after. I want to move out. Because the day I decided to do that. Well, we both did. It was the day after we went to the gym. I don't even think we went to the gym. I think we went to your house and we were planning it.
No, I think we were at the gym parking lot just talking and planning about it. Yeah.
And you were like, okay, well, I'm going to be around the corner in my car, just waiting for you.
Let me know what happens.
And if they don't let you, just walk out.
I don't think I said walk out.
No, you did.
No.
You were just like, walk out. And I was like, okay.
You're making me look, I feel like you're making me look like I'm a bad influence.
No. Well, shit, you are.
Fuck.
And so I have the talk with my parents. Oh my God. It was horrible, dude. It was horrible, guys. I have the talk with my parents, and they were like,
what the fuck?
Like, what the hell? Like, where is all this shit coming from? And so it goes bad, and then I text Brandon, and I was like, it didn't go the way we planned.
They didn't let me.
And she's like, okay, just walk out. And I was like, I can't. Like, they won't let me,
And I was just like, okay.
They were like, are you serious? Like, are they holding you back or whatever,
I don't think I said that.
Yes, you did.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I remember this day clearly because I felt so shitty.
Okay.
And so then you're like, okay, whatever. Like, you start arguing with me, and I'm like, okay, whatever, Brandon. Like, You know what?
No,
Whatever.
no. We didn't argue because
No, we did
no,
because you got fucking heated and then
we
you
didn't.
you hung up on me.
No. Here's the
Dude,
deal.
you hung
But
up on me.
but can you listen? So here's the deal. I go home, and that's when
He's
I
just trying not to make himself feel
feel
look
what?
bad.
Nah, I don't think I look bad because I think we had, we were over age and
Okay.
But
Go
the
to
point
the
is,
point.
okay. See, now you stop me, huh?
No, because you take forever trying to
So,
explain something.
God. So then we go home, or I go home, and then I call her, and then she starts talking to me about kind of how it went and some of the things that were said, and I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I was just in shock more than anything, and I was pissed off because at this point we were already like pretty, like we had a couple months under our belt of like being together, and I was just like what the fuck do we do? Because there was that point, like there was that sense of like wanting to spend more time together, and there was like the other sense of like, okay, well, if they're not gonna let us the right way, then how the fuck am I supposed to like gain their trust? Like, what can I do to like gain your parents' trust so that they do let you? What I didn't know was that there was shit that happened in the past, and because of that stuff, that shit kind of carried on to like our relationship. And so I felt like I was being almost in a sense punished for something that I wasn't even a part of or wasn't even in the picture at the time. That's how I was. So I was like, okay, well, how do you beat that? I mean, that's like, it's hard to like kind of work around that and like, so anyways, yes, I did hang up on her.
So he hangs up on me
Yeah.
and doesn't fucking like text me nothing, guys.
I took a moment to really be by myself and to figure out what I wanted. Because at this point, I had to figure out what I wanted for myself. Do I want to keep going through this, relationship? Or am I exhausted by it? I don't see it going anywhere, and it's done.
Yeah, and this is... Yeah, and I was just off for like a cool week, I want to say.
Yeah, we were off for a cool week.
Well, even after the week, it was still kind of like...
Weird.
Like, he was just being very, like, distant.
Yeah.
And, like, you could tell that something was wrong with him. And I was like, okay, like...
Yeah.
Like, you weren't really talking to me and you would take forever. Like, the vibe just didn't feel there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come at me with the... After that, you wanted me to go to that fucking meeting.
So,
Which he just made things worse, guys. It was from bad to worse. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So after, let's say 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks? Something like that. He's like, okay, well, I have this meeting because he was still in the business. He's like, I have this meeting this day and I need you to go or some shit like that. And if you don't go, then...
We're done.
Yeah, then we're done.
Yeah.
Take in mind that these meetings were already fucking long. And then after they ended, they would still fucking be there for another 30 minutes or so just talking.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Like,
Because
I just went
well,
through
here's
all...
the deal.
I was like, I just went through all of this with my parents, and my parents were not talking. Well, my dad, he was, but it was kind of weird. And my mom was just mad. Like, no words spoken to me. Like, if she wanted to tell me something, she would tell my sister to
petty.
come and tell me.
That's fucking petty.
Like, she did not talk to me at all.
Hey, what if I bring this conversation
and
up?
I was, no. And honestly, well, that was very hurtful. Like, I was going through it. And I don't think he really understood because he was just
I was
frustrated
pissed off.
and
I was
angry.
angry, yeah.
So I was already dealing with his ass, and I was already dealing with all these things at home, and I was like, dude, I was like, when the fuck?
Yeah. So here's the deal. So for me, it was like, okay, you want to be with me, like you want to keep dating me and whatnot. You got to show me that you want to be with me.
Yeah, his fucking petty ass, guys. Like, who the fuck does that? Tell me right now.
So I was like, and I was in the business, so I was brainwashed, and that's a whole different
Fucking
conversation.
brainwashed. They fucking
So
took your brain out and
stop,
washed
stop,
it with
stop.
fucking Clorox too.
No, we're not Clorox. So like, yeah, I was just like, okay.
Almost till I saved you.
So like, you either come to this meeting or we're done, because honestly, like, this business is the most important thing in my life, and I need you to show me that you're down with me, like, and if you are, then you'll come to this meeting, because you'll at least check out what I'm trying to build for myself for my future.
Oh, guys, but the thing here was, so my parents didn't let me hang out from a certain time to the certain time.
We only hung out from 6 to 7, or from 5 to 6. That's the only time.
Yeah.
She had to be home by 7, not a minute
What time
later.
was that meeting? Like 7, 8?
That meeting was at 8 p.m.
8 p.m., but you wanted me to be there earlier so I could
Yes.
meet them, I think.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. Because when I fucking left, and he also wanted me to wear a fucking dress. A fucking dress with heels, by the way. He was like, oh, you need to dress like
It was professional dress, okay? It was
I
professional
was like,
wear.
where the fuck am I supposed to get a dress? So I had this fucking 2-piece set. It was like a little fucking top right here, like it was strapless. And then it came with a really long pencil skirt. So what I had to fucking do is wear that pencil skirt as a fucking dress. And then I made my mom, which she was fucking pissed, but I made her use a safety pin and like hold it from the back so it would be tight to my skin. Because if not, it was super loose and it looked weird.
And
you
she
know?
looked beautiful. All right, she looked
I was
amazing
like,
that night.
shit. And I was like, okay, whatever. And so then the meeting had barely fucking started like 20 minutes ago. And my dad's already texting me like, when the hell are you coming home? Like, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and I couldn't use my phone because we were in the meeting. And I was like, so I went to the fucking bathroom and my dad, he's calling me nonstop. And I'm like, Dad, like, we're still here. Like, it's not over. He's like, okay, well, I want you home in 20 minutes. And, well, I wasn't home in 20 minutes. And then some more problems were caused right there. And fucking Brandon over here is like, oh my God, thank you so much for coming, baby. That meant the world to me. I was like, fuck off, dude. I'm going to sleep.
Well, but do you understand my side?
Yeah, but do you understand my side?
Yes.
Because I felt like my side was never fucking understood.
No, it was understood. But I just didn't know that you understood my side.
But I do understand your side.
Okay. So then, yeah. And then after that, it was just like, okay, well, I guess we'll keep trying to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, and after that, I think that's when I sat down with my dad and just told him how I really felt.
And that conversation wasn't even about me. It was about what had happened and kind of what she wanted to do moving forward, building the relationship with her parents. I wasn't even involved in that conversation because she knows and I know, and we knew at the time that the problems that we were going through weren't because of me necessarily, and it wasn't because we did anything wrong when we started to talk to each other or meet each other. It was things that had passed, that she had gone through in the past with her parents with certain things, So that was my whole frustration, and so when she had that conversation with her dad, the conversation wasn't even about her dating me or me, being this guy who was trying to get her to move out or whatnot. It was more so, hey, Dad and Mom. Was your mom there too? I think so, right?
It was. I wanted to get them both, but it was always really hard to just sit them down together and, hey, I want to talk to you guys.
Right.
So I just I was just talking to my dad, and then my mom gets out of the shower and she's like, oh, what's happening now? I was like,
Oh,
oh,
God.
shit. I
You're
was like,
God damn
oh,
it,
fuck,
Mom.
I don't want to do this again. Like, I was already hard enough with my dad. And then I had typed it down. I wrote it down on my notes.
She even sent that to me, what she was going to say.
I did?
Yeah. And I just fixed a couple things for her, and I was like, I think this sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and so then she reads it, and you could tell that she was kind of like, it looked like she was kind of tearing up because I apologized for a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm sorry, like, I want to, like, basically start over with them, and I want to earn your trust back.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing anything wrong, things that I shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
You know?
'Cause
To ruin your guys' trust again.
Yeah.
So it kind of just hit them in another,
In a different way.
yeah, in a different way.
Yeah. Because FYI, maybe just is a little bit too much information, but
What are you trying to say?
that we weren't even having sex.
Oh.
Like, their fear of, like, her getting pregnant wasn't even real because we weren't even having sex.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even have sex.
I mean, it was a lot of things. It wasn't just sex.
So it's
that
like,
was their trust issues or anything.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
a lot
nah,
more
no,
than
of course.
that.
But that, like, the one that was like the point we came up earlier, how that was one of the fears they brought up. So that's kind of why I said it. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because we weren't even, we literally, all we wanted to do was just go for dinner and then bowling or the movies. And we couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we went through all these fucking tribulations.
Yeah, and then after that, because I asked them, hey, I just want to have more time with Brandon.
Yeah.
And my mom got pissed again.
She
like,
hated me. And I've done a couple things now
no,
that
I mean,
think
she didn't hate you, but she was just kind of like, oh, is that enough time for you now to do everything you want to do and shit like that, you know?
My mom is petty, huh?
She can't be. I'm like her, so.
Damn.
You know, but
I can see it.
I understand, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
And then, fast forward, and that's when we decide to get married.
Yeah, a little bit later after that, like 2 months, I want to say.
After Mexico.
Yeah.
So it was longer than 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably 4.
Yeah, because we spent a lot of time talking about that, like, hey, let's get married,
Do you think we got married? Do you think that was the sole purpose of us getting married was for you to kind of have the liberty and freedom? Or do you think, was there any part that was played for us to get married because of the things we went through? Like, what do you think about that?
No, I don't think we got married just because we wanted to be free, I guess.
For sure, there was, part of, there was a little small part to play.
But I would have never gotten married just because of that.
And
Because that would have been stupid.
And I would have never accepted.
And I mean, even when we were talking about getting married.
Yeah.
And we had both kind of decided, you were like, hey, but I just want you to
be honest with me.
Be honest. Like, are you just getting married because you
want to leave your house?
Yeah, I want to leave your house. And I was like, no, like I would be really stupid to just get married to you.
Yeah.
Just because I wanted to be
married
free
or whatever the fuck.
So no. I think we were just ready for it. Like, even though we weren't dating for so long,
yeah,
I just felt like the connection was always there.
Yeah.
And we just kind of knew, we were grown enough to know what we wanted.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but then it just completely left my thought process. Yeah, no, I think that we for sure, kind of, our relationship just had that sparkle in it.
Mm-hmm. That sparkle?
Yeah.
That spark, you mean?
Yeah. That spark.
Did you ever play Sparkle in elementary school?
I don't know what that game is.
It's the spelling bee.
Oh, no.
Oh.
But yeah, I always had that, and that's why, because guys, as you guys already know, like, she was my crush since fucking freshman year, so.
Mm-hmm.
It was a hard, and then fast forward, we get married, and like her parents actually kind of were okay with it. I feel like they didn't really say much when I went to her house and proposed, and my mom was there with me. We did it the right way. I like to
Well,
say,
since the beginning, it was always done the right way. Like even
yeah,
my mom has mentioned it before to like my her coworkers and friends like that and family members. Like he
yeah,
was like, "Oh yeah, Brandon always did everything right. Like whenever he wanted to date Jackie, he came and basically told us
yeah, and I
and
had,
asked if it was okay or whatever,
yeah,
you know. I don't remember exactly the words, but and whenever what was it? Oh, well, whenever we got engaged,
I had to ask my
you even
grandma
took your mom, you know?
because I was like, okay, I had to ask the people around me who were like Mexican. My grandma more so, my mom and my aunt, like how were things done back then? And back then, you would take your mom or your dad, and they would be the ones to ask the parents if the child can propose, if their child can propose. So because I knew her parents were old school, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take my mom, and my mom is gonna ask if I can propose to Jackie and ask for her hand. So we did it that way, which I think they actually kind of appreciated
Yeah,
instead of
for
because
sure.
I don't think they would have taken me serious if I was by myself. And then also before that, we had me and her parents had very, very strong conversations, which I always went with, you know, it was like a chess game to me. It was just like if I can prove to them that I'm not just a stupid kid who is trying to, you know, get my dick inside and then that's it, or just trying to fuck around with Jackie. If I can show to them that I'm actually serious about dating their daughter, I'm actually trying to build something with their daughter, and prove to them that I have a future for myself ahead, so that I'm not just one of those kids that just comes and fucks around and then leaves, then they're gonna respect me. And I think that those conversations that we had, I stood my ground, and I proved to them like, hey, okay, this kid, he knows a little bit more than what he looks or says, or like I can actually respect him for having these very mature conversations because I was 19 at the time.
Yeah.
So to them I could have looked like a stupid 19-year-old just trying to get my dick wet, when in reality I was trying to be with their daughter for
Yeah.
a very long time. So I think those conversations helped them kind of take me more serious too, and actually appreciate the fact that I was facing them, because I don't think anyone in your past had ever done that. Not the way I did it, at least.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what's your advice to these girls out here who can be going through that, who are going through that? What would you tell them that you wish you would have told yourself, or that you wish you would have known yourself back then with Hispanic parents?
I think it's really hard, but putting boundaries like you would tell me. Putting
Yeah,
boundaries with our parents.
yeah, for sure.
Um and just oh, I really wanted
What?
I spaced out. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, no,
And
putting boundaries is for sure very important. That's something that since the beginning, I put up with her, and two, I don't know, would you say teach or taught you what boundaries
maybe.
were?
Yeah.
Um, from the beginning, I was very much like, okay, you need to put up boundaries, and this is what boundaries are.
Yeah, and just speak up, you know, like have a conversation with your parents.
Communication, always.
Yeah. Yeah, instead of arguing, just try to conversate with them and,
Yeah,
you know, try to get somewhere with them. Because it is really hard for Mexican parents to be like, oh, okay, daughter, you're right, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's very hard for them to give
Like
you
for them, it's always like, oh, no, you just don't listen.
or like I'm right, you're wrong.
And for the most part, their advice,
It's good.
it's good advice, but we take it as it's not just because we're so frustrated and angry
Yep.
that, oh, they're not letting me do this or that or this. But Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and I would say too, like, from the perspective that I saw, kind of just to, give my thoughts on what she was saying is, I think also being very clear and letting your parents know, hey, this is what's going on and this is why I'm asking for this. So being very clear, don't beat around the bush. Um,
yeah,
and
don't be afraid.
yeah, and do things that, yeah, 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 be clear is kind of what I would say. And if you're in my position, if you're the guy,
Just be patient, like,
you gotta you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna ask yourself, okay, do I want to keep going with this, or do I want to stop? And I
yeah.
got to that point, and you have to decide. And if you decide to keep going through it, you gotta understand that, because I felt guilty where I was like, okay, I'm putting her between, the knife and the wall. That's like a saying in Mexico. And I didn't want that. And the person who told me that was my godfather. So, and my own godfather told me I was wrong. Told me, hey, dude, you need to chill the fuck out. Like, you need to give them time and space so that Jackie can figure out what she wants. My own godfather told me that. So that's what I did. I was like, okay, roll your fucking ass down, dude. Like, her dad is always going to be her dad. That's not going to change. Who are you to think that you're more than that? You know? Not that I thought of that myself, but it was just like, like, relax, Brandon. Like, slow, dude. Slow. It's going to build over time. So just like Jackie said, be patient. Take into account that the girl is already, or the guy maybe, is already going through a lot at home. And imagine being at home and, having a hard time, and then the person who you trust and who you talk to and feel that warmth is also giving you a hard ass time. Like, that's hard. So, sorry for that.
It's all good.
And now we're married.
A year
A
from
year
being
in.
married.
Holy shit, it's been a year, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good year, though.
It's been good.
It's been good. So, anyways, guys, that concludes the podcast, I think.
Hell yeah.
Thank you for being the guest. Whoa. Thank you for being my guest.
Of course.
What do you think of this conversation?
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. You have anything to say to them? Anything else?
No, not really.
Cool. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Go check us out on Instagram, the OAP official, all together. Brandon, A Lara, all together. Jackie.
J with 3ACKIE _.
There you go. YouTube, Once a Project Podcast. TikTok, Once a Project Podcast. Apple and Spotify, Once a Project Podcast. Go check us out there. Give us a follow, like, comment, subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.